Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the guide you need to decide which Lost Ark class you're going to play. We all know that you promised yourself last time you'd be more decisive with your main class choice in the next game, and this time you'll finally do it. In today's video, we will cover all the expected classes in the upcoming North American and Western European Lost Ark release and arm you with the knowledge you need to pick what's right for you. There are more classes in the Korean and Russian regions, but they are not all expected to be available upon launch for NA and EU players. But first, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Who knows, I might even be streaming right now. Let's start by covering what the classes have in common so you know what you're working with. Classes start as a base class that becomes your final class after a few levels. The base class Mage can become the advanced class Summoner, for example. You'll just select your base class at character creation, and some classes split into multiple advanced classes, so you'll have a choice to make once you get there. Every class has a built-in movement ability. It'll be slightly different for each one, but it's mapped to the same key. Each class also has what Lost Ark calls an identity. It's a unique mechanic set that defines your class. It's also important to know that classes have a maximum amount of action bar slots, but have more abilities than their action bar, meaning you can mix and match abilities to customize your playstyle. There aren't traditional MMO roles for Lost Ark in PvE dungeons and raids. Put simply, there are currently two support classes, the Bard and the Paladin, and everyone else just deals damage and dodges mechanics. And I include this in case it may shift your decision on what class to pick. The Berserker wields an impossibly large greatsword. Its movement is a quick dodge roll. Dealing damage fills up its fury meter, and once full, you can activate burst status. You'll move faster and hit harder for a period of time and gain access to a special ability that unloads on all enemies in front of you. If you enjoy longer windups with heavy hits, then Berserker might be for you, as it hits all the notes you'd expect of a Berserker archetype. And being a warrior advanced class makes them more durable than other damage dealers, so if you tend to shy away from glass cannon playstyles, the Berserker might be for you. The Gunlancer is the closest thing you'll find to a traditional tank in Lost Ark. Tanks aren't required, but boy does the Gunlancer play like one. If you're a fan of Monster Hunter, this is almost the Gunlance weapon set. Your class identity is your big shield that you lug around. Attacking fills the shield meter, and once the meter is full, you can choose to either protect yourself with an HP shield or use your meter to redirect damage from allies around you to yourself instead. The Gunlancer movement ability is a small backward hop on a shorter cooldown. It has great weapon reach, respectable damage, and useful control with team utility. The Paladin wields a broadsword and holy magic. Its movement is a fast dash with decent range, but a slight wind up before it fires. Your class identity is your piety meter. Attacking fills your meter, and you can spend it on either improving your attack damage and attack range, or by giving your party members a juicy damage increase. The Paladin is one of the two support classes in the game, and is a welcome addition to any party. So if you like playing support or want to be the closest thing to a traditional healer in Lost Ark, then the Paladin has you covered. Likewise, the Bard is the other support style class in Lost Ark. Its movement is a quick medium dash with a longer cooldown. Its class identity is the Serenade. Attacking fills your meter, and you can store up to 3 bubbles that can be consumed to either grant your party a damage increase or for a sizable area heal. Again, if you like playing the healer in MMOs, then the Bard might be exactly what you're looking for. Bard attacks take time to build up and release, but many of them have some crowd control included to compensate. The Summoner is a true ranged damage dealer who wields the full spectrum of elemental magic. Its movement is an extremely fast dash with a small recovery time on a longer cooldown. Its identity is 5 ancient elemental summons. Attacking fills your ancient energy, and depending on how much you spend, you will summon a different ancient elemental that performs a powerful attack. It's worth noting that the Summoner has a large arsenal of summons to choose from, but they all have short durations, so you won't get the traditional permanent pet class experience with the summoner. However, you are able to weave together your elemental magic, time-limited summons, and ancient elemental attacks for a rather varied caster playstyle. The Scrapper sports 2 heavy gauntlets, and while there are other martial art focused classes in the game, the Scrapper is the closest to a bruiser. Its movement is a fast, short dash that can be used 2 times in a row with a longer cooldown. The Scrapper identity is the Shock Meter. Yellow skills use your stamina resource and generate Shock Meter, which can then be spent on powerful green shock abilities. A true dual resource playstyle means that your gameplay enters a rhythm, asking you to strike a balance between spending energy and utilizing your shock without capping it out. Choose the Scrapper if you like using your fists, but enjoy planning and positioning over fast inputs. The Soulfist believes in the hype. She's a martial artist who uses a focus for ranged punches and kicks. Its movement is a medium dash with medium distance on a longer cooldown. Its identity is the Hype Meter. You have 3 levels of hype. As your hype level increases, your skills recharge faster, you attack faster, and deal more damage. The higher your hype, the shorter it lasts. Your attacks are a combination of ranged and melee, and overall, this lends itself to a flowing and flexible monk playstyle. The Wardancer is a martial artist armed with elemental power. Its movement is a short dash on a shorter cooldown. The Wardancer identity is elemental power. Landing attacks fills up your meter and can be stored in up to 3 elemental orbs that can be spent on strong attacks. The Wardancer's abilities include many short dashes forward and backward, which creates a combo-heavy playstyle with constant movement. It has consistent and reliable damage, with the occasional burst from consuming elemental orbs for big attacks. The Striker is the mirror of the Wardancer. They share the same elemental power identity, which means the Striker hits with punches and kicks to build meter and consume elemental orbs for big elemental attacks. It also has the same short dash on a shorter cooldown. The Striker differs from the Wardancer by focusing more on meaty kicks and high damage windows. If the Wardancer has consistent damage, then the Striker has stronger burst damage. If you like the martial artist playstyle and enjoy seeing bigger numbers and heavy windups, then the Striker might be for you. The Sharpshooter is your classic bow and arrow character. Its movement ability is a fast dash on a longer cooldown. Its class identity is the trusty Silverhawk. Attacking fills your Hawk meter, and you can activate to summon Silverhawk, who will fly next to you and attack enemies in your vicinity. Activating Silverhawk again uses its special attack. The Sharpshooter uses a mixture of gadgets, bow shots, and melee attacks with close range blades. If the Ranger archetype is your jam, then the Sharpshooter nails that gameplay with style. The Artillerist is man with big gun. He carries a ridiculously large firearm that transforms into many different heavy weapons like machine guns, mortars, cannons, and rocket launchers, just to name a few. Its movement ability is a medium slow roll with a longer cooldown. Its class identity is Barrage Mode. Killing enemies builds your meter, and once full, you can transform into a supercharged turret mode with special abilities. If the Sharpshooter uses gadgets and mobility to stay alive, the Artillerist takes the opposite approach. You'll be using a combination of crowd control and self-shielding to stay alive as you HP race against your enemies to see who really dies faster. The Deadeye is an avid gun collector. Its movement is a medium dash on a medium cooldown. Its class identity is different from the others in that the Deadeye cycles between 3 different weapon sets: dual handguns, a shotgun, and a rifle. Your action bars will change with the weapon's specific abilities depending on what weapon you have in your hands. And the weapon swap is surprisingly snappy, especially for an online game. Your core abilities are your handguns that have the most abilities with reliable cooldowns. The shotgun and rifle have less abilities with longer cooldowns but pack a heavy punch. Unlike the Gunslinger, the Deadeye tends to focus on powerful shotgun attacks. The Gunslinger is the female mirror of the Deadeye, which means she also swaps between 2 handguns, a shotgun, and a rifle. Its movement ability is a short dash on a longer cooldown, but you can activate it twice in a row to have an extended dash. As the Deadeye leans more towards the shotgun, the Gunslinger leans more towards the rifle, which means she favors distance. Both classes provide a fun challenge, as swapping between your weapons and managing all your cooldowns has a high skill ceiling to fully master. The Deathblade brings hack and slash to a new level with its swift dual blades combined with a heavy longsword on its back for big attacks. It has a medium dash on a short cooldown, and its class identity is the Deathblade Arts. Attacking fills up to 3 death orbs, and once activated, you enter Deathblade Arts mode, which grants you move speed, attack speed, power, and faster cooldowns, depending on how many death orbs you have. You can also consume your remaining death orbs while in this mode to throw a massive attack and exit Deathblade Arts mode. If the idea of fast and relentless gameplay with unlimited slicing is your jam, then Deathblade has you covered. The Shadowhunter fully embraces the demonic evil aesthetic with dual demonic blades and the ability to channel demonic power. Its movement is a fast dash on a longer cooldown. Its class identity is Shadow Burst. Attacks fill your meter, and a full meter transforms you into a demon for a short time, with a whole new set of abilities that are just gorgeous to look at. The Deathblade may have speed, but the Shadowhunter has brutality. If you'd like raw animal ferocity with the occasional transformation to supercharge your gameplay, then the Shadowhunter is what you're looking for. And that does it for the 15 classes in the North American and Western European version of Lost Ark. If you know what class you're playing, then comment it down below. Let's see which class gets the most comments. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.